Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a Massacre Monday, and I'm going to walk through a little bit of a different gameplay today. I know a lot of other YouTubers have been doing draft. I've held off so you guys could have some fun decks to play with through the rest of this season, which is otherwise going to be fairly boring considering that there were no changes. But I want to walk you through draft. It is in early access, and I find the AI to be a bit clunky, but because of that, you can string together some crazy business. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this, I'm going to start with the end game first. So you can play up to 7 wins, and you're just going to keep playing until you get your 7 wins. You can take as many losses as you want, and you can see wins in the current draft in the top right, or I find it easier to just count these out. You can see the one that I've already completed, and then these other ones are ones that we are yet to get. Obnoxiously, for me at least, you can't really see the deck until you get into a game. You can choose your leader skin, you can change your coin, your board, and your card back, and then those are going to be permanent every time you jump into a new game. But you unfortunately can't see what your deck is unless you click on the show deck. And it's going to pop up on the side, but I kind of wish they just like have that permanently affixed there because there's nothing else going on over here. So just make sure to click on show your deck, that'll give it to you. I was having a lot of fun with this one. This was Deadeye Ambush. I had Scoia'tael with 2 Ignis, a professional. And I did a really fun thing where I combined Wild Hunt with Elves. Because the Wild Hunt are Elves. So we got like Nithral in here with really good combos with Ailerin, able to tutor her out to melee row as well. And then just like a really fun package of Wild Hunt units. And then using this Scoia'tael for Yavin play. So I know a lot of people are looking for Vernoiseal, and she's awesome. Don't get me wrong, I love Vernoiseal. But Yavin with Scoia'tael is fantastic because you get that targeted damage as one of the highest damage dealing units in the game, especially for only 7 provisions. So build him into a deck, have some fun with that. But what I'm going to walk you guys through is how to do the draft. And a couple things to this. So whenever you press close, you get to choose to save your draft and go back to the main menu. I do like this deck, but I'm going to show you guys how to do a new one. So we're going to go ahead and go into new draft. There's no entry cost. It used to cost you 150, but there is no entry cost. And since this is a Skellige day, we're going to go till we get a Skellige leader. And basically, since there's no entry cost and there's no reward, so there's no penalty on the back end, you just kind of go till you see something you want. You just kind of keep pressing new draft, keep pressing close until you see one you want. So here you get those ones. You're like, no, I don't really like any of those. Those all were kind of garbage. Here's still missing Skellige. So you can just kind of keep going. Say if you just really want to try out a certain archetype, Rage of the Sea works really well. So you're going to see up at the top here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 boxes. And the target here is 25 cards per deck. And I think they listened to some of the critique about Arena always being 26 cards, took that into consideration, and I've done this. So first you're going to choose your ability. Next, you're going to choose a single card that won't reappear in any of the packs, and then it's going to give you 3 card packs as options. You choose one of those 3 for each of these next 8 slots, which is going to be 24 cards. 3 times 8 is 24. Do your maths. And then the first card that you had here will be the 25th card. The final play will be your stratagem. So we'll walk you through this. We'll do Rage of the Sea. That works quite well. And then basically what you choose for your first one is going to be what triggers all of the other plays. So Trololo, I can only assume, is going to give you like Soldier and Warfare cards, which aren't superbly helpful with Rage of the Sea. Oriana is going to give us Bleed and Vampires. And then Eorvith is going to give us Trap options. So none of these are really all that great. I will say we're just going to kind of pick one to walk through. I think like maybe Oriana could be good with our monsters. Sorry, with our Skellige deck. But I think Eorvith's going to be even better to get like crushing traps lined up with Rage of the Sea. We can force the opponents to a certain row and then deal with them that way. So there's frequently like a coins package from Syndicate. I think if you're going to do Syndicate, you kind of need to go all in. We're not going to do that. But because we chose Eorvith, we get Scoia'tael options. And here we're seeing Elves and Poisons. You know, I think Poisons are probably going to be our best option. Weeping Willow with Dryad Rangers, pretty good combo. Mutated Hounds are pretty decent as well. I will say you also want to keep in mind if you want to have devotion as an option, you need to be cognizant of that. So here we do get weather options, but these double crushing traps was exactly what I was looking for. We're going to go ahead and pick that one. And like I said, I'm going to kind of just stay away from coins because I don't find them superbly helpful. But I do find ships and pirates great with Rage of the Sea. So I think that's going to give us more Skellige units. Vladimir and Iris are a little bit redundant in my opinion. Unless you have like very specific cards that are teched for it. Which they aren't. I think Vladimir plays really well with like Olgeared, the one that heals himself, or Immortal. Both of those work really well because you can kind of toss back the numbers between each other and then give Iris Shade a lot of value from the armor removal. But again, not that great unless you're already building for it. Here I would rather have this. Traps is good, and we would get Elven Scout, which would benefit the other traps that we already have. You can't view them at any time individually, but you can see them as part of your deck on the left side. We're going to go for ships and pirates because we are Skellige, and it is a Massacre Monday. Skellige Storm is like one of my favorites. Spawn Storm on the enemy row for 2 turns, and for those of you who don't know, Storm is at the start of the owner's turn, damage all units on the row by 1. So it's pretty nice. Rain is for 3 turns. So that can be fairly good. You know, this Brokvar Archer is kind of good, and Damoon Pirate Captain are kind of good, but Giant Boar is just really nice with this package, where he's able to come down and get boosted by 1 for every damaged unit. So we're going to go with that, since we already have enough row punish. But here, this is like the ultimate traps combo. So I think this is a great way to play if you're a newer player and you just want to try stuff out. If you're a seasoned player, I think you're going to get tired of this pretty quickly. But newer players, you say, oh, I've always wanted to play Yorvith's Gambit. It's a legendary card. It costs 800 scraps. I don't want to build it. It was actually the first legendary I ever built. It goes to show you both how dated and stupid I am in this game. But it is really, really fun. But you do need to have 4 traps. So we have 2 crushing traps. We're about to add up to 4 crushing traps. We're just going to hope that our opponents have row boost. And go from there. We do have another poison package here. Fizztech is worthless, so I don't really care about that. Now you just always want to check through and say, okay, am I devotion? Here I am. Neniki and Carrick Marines look actually pretty nice to me. Serpent traps and Incinerating traps are just a little bit too special and too technical for me to want to get value out of, but this boost looks quite nice. You do need to put points onto the board. Now, Hammond plays well with other, pirates. Warship is fine. Smuggler is fine. Brokvar Archer has just been reworked. For those of you who aren't familiar, it used to have that cooldown, but now it's damage an enemy unit by the amount of damaged units on their side. So that's actually really pretty good for us. And then this Damoon Pirate Captain is gonna get up to damage 3 so long as there is a Bloodthirst of 2. And I love Jango Fett, if for no other reason that his name is Jango Fett, and I love Star Wars, but we'll just leave it at that without infringing on copyrights. Board swarming is not super helpful for us. I think Bloodthirst is a little bit better. So there we go, we've chosen our 8 packages. Some of them are like really technical. I will say Ceremonial Dagger I've never really liked. Mask of Oribos is really good as long as you have something that's worthwhile for the discard. We don't have any of those, so here I think Tactical Advantage is the one that makes the most sense. And then you just jump into a game, press play, and hope for somebody who doesn't have crazy good options. I will say that a lot of the decks you're going to face are going to be really good, and that's because you can just go ahead and redraft anytime you want, no questions asked. Do not pass go. Collect $200. You know, that's the pros and cons of not having an entry fee, right? So we'll walk you guys through this. One thing to keep in mind with Yorvith's Gambit, you do need to keep 2 traps in deck. Since they're all the same, I'm just going to put one of these back just so we don't run into problems. Pirate Captain's really not superbly helpful here because we have to get to the Bloodthirst first. So Boar is pretty awesome. So you can go to melee and boost self by 1 for each damaged enemy unit, or ranged and boost self by the amount an enemy unit is damaged. So you can kind of like damage one unit by a lot, or damage a whole bunch of units, which is kind of the gameplay we're going for here. And then by the number of damaged units get boosted.
Yes, sir.
So here I just kind of want to start my bloodthirst ticking. So on crate raiders look like they'll probably be the best option. We see double cross. I think double cross is still one of the better leader abilities for this arena, as long as you use it at the right time, and that can be a little bit difficult. So this punishment is a little annoying. I'm gonna go ahead and punish this Odrin with my Trigby. Why not? Obviously the veteran status is a little bit better into a later round, but this is really good value. It's an 11-point play, as long as it sticks and it forces the opponent to put another soldier next to frigate. And if they've had any experience similar to mine, it's hard to come up with the right units at the right time. So I do need to start generating some damage value onto some of these units, but we're just going to wait for this crushing trap till later. Start with Carrack Marine here and just boost up this on Crate Raider. And remember, devotion is not whether or not you have all cards from the same faction or the associated faction, just purely no neutral cards. So as long as you're playing a deck that has no neutral cards, you're going to be able to take advantage of that. This is a little weird to me. I don't really understand why the opponent would make this choice, but you know, it works. So we're gonna go ahead here and just damage this trebuchet. Now we get our bloodthirst, so now we can damage this frigate down, and then we'll be able to play this crushing trap and put that entire range row out of business. I will say probably the best play here actually is to go for Crushing Trap and then go for Damoon Pirate Captain. So for those of you unfamiliar, Crushing Traps take 2 turns to go off. We wait 1 turn, then it'll go off next turn. So the opponent goes for the pass here. We have 3 points. They're going to go down to 3 points, so it's just a matter of whether or not we want to tie. I'm not really in the mood for that, so I'm just gonna knock this down. And joink, there we go. Now I do want a long round. A long round favors me with my giant boar, with my double crushing traps. So we're just gonna wait. Probably take a hard pass here and trade this into a long round 3. We saw both of our leader charges as well. Okay, this poison is somewhat helpful, but also not at the same time. I don't have a better way of describing that. Broke for Archer I don't really love here. It's just such a late technical card. And we're going to put back the Mutated Hounds as well and get another Broke for Archer. You can get as many of the same card as you want. There's no restriction. So something that I wish that they'd make a little bit more accessible to complete some of these contracts is being able to get like purely gold cards, purely bronze cards. I'm still looking to complete that contract. That's been a bit obnoxious for me. Now the only thing with double cross we want to be careful of is making sure it's going to get the opponent useless cards. So Yorvit's Gambit, Jenga Fret, Jenga still plays for 6 points. So those are our best cards, and I really don't mind at all if the opponent takes Yorvith's Gambit because I'm guessing they don't have traps. We're going to put Crushing Trap back, and Yorvith is fantastic here because we get to replay one of these Crushing Traps. We are going to get 2 of these, so it is possible we get the Serpent Trap. That wouldn't be so bad. Alright, so now it is the Crushing Trap, so that's excellent. It's probably going to be one of the last things we do. We can play out the Serpent Trap pretty early. Then whenever they play a special card, it's just going to erase that unit. Here we're just going to go for Uncreate Longship. It gives us a little bit of time. And a lot of stuff's going to go to range, so Rage of the Sea is wanting to make sure we get full value out of that. So starting that early, putting the punish down on these trebuchets is going to be really helpful for us. Dandelion's a little bit of an odd choice here. He has a tall value at 6. He has a tall unit at 6 points. So I am going to get out Serpent Trap, and then we're just going to start this Rage of the Sea. He's started up 2 units onto that row for us. We get guaranteed 2 damage. Sets up for some Bloodthirst. Allows us to tech around some of these siege engines before this bombardment comes down. So the frigate comes out here onto melee row. They'll need to get a soldier out at some point. But again, I don't really mind them getting a lot of value here. Not much they can do to us. Now here I do get 4 points of damage out of Donar. I'm going to take down this battering ram. Just because I don't mind them cluttering their own rows. But I do want to eliminate 1 siege engine just to give a little bit more life to my longship. And to focus fire this damage onto the trebuchet and the dandelion. Alright, Hefty Helga is a great choice from the opponent here. They lose the shield automatically from the longship. And then their tallest unit gets erased from Serpent Trap. Helga is their tallest unit. So here we're just going to go ahead and replace Serpent Trap again. I do recommend playing Serpent Traps early, even if you're waiting for a really tall card to get played. The pure reason for that is just so that you can get value from them. You'll run into a lot of problems if the opponent doesn't play any special cards, and frequently, especially on arena decks, people like to go for the units. I doubt that they get a lot of tactics here, but they might get charges, which is why we're seeing the Dandelion out here. So because of that, we're going to use Jenga to lock up this Hefty Helga. And we're just going to keep the... We'll save this charge until the opponent's down to 2 cards, just so we can set up the proper value. These poisons are nice. You know, Giant Boar right now plays for 6 points onto this Donar.
The city is left by rot.
We're going to boost up Jenga here just so we don't run into problems with our boar. And then we'll start the poison onto whatever unit is tallest next, I think. This is a good play. I think the opponent set this up really nicely. Or rather, we set it up for them. We're gonna go Ranger first, just because I get to kind of schedule where this goes. Now here I'm gonna go for Rage of the Sea on the melee row before we play Weeping Willow, just to set up as much bloodthirst as we can, or sorry, as much damage as we can with his giant boars. And we'll go for Yorvith's Gambit, with double traps on the range row. So here we go, we've got 5 damage units. So this is playing really well for Giant Boar. Here they go for double cross. Giant boar plays for 7 onto this Donar. This is a bit awkward though, because it does damage that boar back by 4. It's a little bit of lost value there. So taking the Weeping Willow might have actually been good for them, just for the shield.
Any last words?
This is a bit strange to me. Purifying the Sewer Wreck would have protected the poison. Here we're gonna see this Trebuchet get erased. Potentially both rows have 4, so hopefully 1 hits each row.
I've some dastardly spells at my disposal. Shockingly good.
Oh, actually, they're both gonna go to melee. Both going to go to melee. So let's just go ahead and do this. The value is going to be about the same. This boar will end up getting damaged. And it's damaged by 3, so this will play for 7 if we do go to melee, or it'll go for 7 if we play to range. So here we see Winch get played for nothing. This is really poor play. The opponent knew we had Serpent Trap, so just kind of a poor play there. Now we want to go for range to buy the amount an enemy is damaged. Go for either boar or dandelion. So that's full value. There you go. That's a game in Arena. You can see all kinds of crazy weird stuff come out. Winch onto Hefty Helga would have been real nasty. I think they should have done that much earlier, though our Serpent Traps are constantly punishing there. So, but would have been better than losing that elephant. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos. Please like if you like this one. And let me know if you never want to see Arena videos ever again. I would totally understand. But to be fair, I'm kind of out of ideas for Skellige. They're a bit of a one-trick pony at the moment, outside of all the super crazy weird decks that I've already made for you guys. So anyway, until next time, good luck on the path. Get out there. Keep on Gwenting.